Hello everyone, my name is Cheryl, and together with my group mates Praveen and Sean, we will be discussing on two pressing issues that Australia faces: climate change and mental well-being. Praveen will be discussing on climate change, while Sean will be discussing on happiness and well-being. Both issues also involve two economic schools of thoughts that we most closely identify with a solution to the stated problem.
Hi everyone, my name is Praveen, and the first issue that we'll be talking about today is challenges to climate change and its impacts. We will be talking about Australia mainly. So here are some of the problem statements that we have identified as a team. First is Australia is experiencing long-term warming. Next is climate change is accelerating. Examples of it will be extreme bushfires, sea level rises, and coral bleaching. An example of the coral bleaching is the Great Barrier Reef, which is deteriorating, impacting biodiversity, tourism, and the fisheries. Australia's continued reliance on coal hinders progress towards SDG 13 climate action. So here are some of the key challenges that we have identified. First is the 2019 to 2020 Black Summer. Over 5 million hectares burned, 3 billion animals affected, and more and fires 30% more likely due to human-driven climate change, which has identified drought conditions, increased average temperatures, and created more frequent extreme weather events, setting the stage for more severe widespread bushfires due to human driven climate change. And then lastly will be coal dependency. Despite decline since 2010, coal still dominates, and the transition to it is still very slow. So the first school of thought we're talking about today is ecological economics, which sees the environment as central to the economy. It argues for a rapid shift away from coal, strict emission regulations, and prioritizing environmental health over GDP growth. It promotes tools like carbon taxes and accounting for natural capital. So, as a team, we support its urgent tone, but recognize that as a sudden shift could harm coal reliant communities, so transition support is very essential. The next is evolutionary economics. It takes a slower and adaptive approach. It promotes learning and innovation like scaling up renewables, rescaling workers, and gradually replacing coal. This school acknowledges that socioeconomic realities many communities faces. While practical, this approach risks being too slow to tackle immediate threats unless guided by strong deadlines and targets. So overall, a balanced approach that combines bold climate targets with realistic inclusive strategies can help Australia reduce emissions while protecting both the environment and its economy.
I'm Sean, and today we are going to explore the relationship between economic strategies and our personal well being. Australia consistently ranks among the happiest countries in the world, but it has its own economic challenges, particularly a slowdown in productivity. So, how can we maintain both our own happiness and economic strength? Recent trends have shown a decline in productivity growth since the mid 2000s. This is worrying because lower productivity can lead to reduced income, which in turn may lower overall well being. One key factor affecting productivity is stress. Research shows that as stress increases, productivity and job satisfaction drops. The COVID 19 pandemic amplified this issue, with over 50% of Australians reporting higher stress levels. Groups like women, the young, the elderly, and Melbourne residents were especially affected. I chose to compare Buddhist economics against neoclassical economics as I believe these two frameworks offer fundamentally different approaches to understanding human economic behavior and organizing economic systems. The Buddhist approach prioritizes employee welfare over profits, encouraging compassion and connectivity in the workplace, with manageable workloads, flexibility, and a supportive leadership. It promotes long term well being but requires major cultural change. The neoclassical approach focuses on performance based incentives, rewarding desired behavior and encouraging motivation and productivity. Positive reinforcement is preferred over punishment and can lead to sustained economic growth and employee satisfaction. To wrap up, we believe that Neoclassical economics is the most practical and effective pathway to boost productivity. Smart incentive systems that are fair and transparent can address Australia's productivity slowdown while improving workplace satisfaction.
As a group, we chose to focus on climate change and mental well-being because we believe that they represent two of the most impactful and urgent challenges, both globally and in Australia. Climate change affects our ecosystems, economies, and communities, while mental health issues like stress, burnout, and reduced productivity are increasingly becoming more and more common and deeply affect individual quality of life. These issues concerns us not just on an environmental or economic level, but also on a human level. They influence how we live, work, and connect with each other on a daily basis. Our focus aligns closely with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, specifically SDG 13, Climate Action, and SDG 3, Good Health and Well-being. Both are deeply connected to economic decisions and policy, like how we produce energy or design work environment. This is where economics comes in. Different economics theories help us make sense of complex issues and guide decision making during uncertainty. Whether it's designing energy policies to reduce emissions or using workplace incentives to improve well-being, economics plays a key role in shaping both planetary and personal health. With that, thank you for your time and hope you have a good day ahead.